So I just wanted to talk a little bit today about dealing with the unexpected when you're teaching. And I'm not talking about fire drills and tornado drills or unexpected behavior problems or anything like that. I'm actually talking about something that I don't think we talk too much about in teaching. I'm talking about when you think that you have everything planned out and you think that you've got all your ducks in a row, and it's not what you expected. What happens in the classroom is not what you expected. And I'm not talking about like you get a weird, crazy thing that happens or wild thing that happens. I'm talking about the low level, having your expectations dampened. I'm talking about that low level kind of disappointment. This morning I introduced Romeo and Juliet for my freshmen, and I have a way that I like to do that, and let's see if I can post it in my stories because I got some video today of how we do the prologue and introduce Shakespeare and all this stuff. I get really excited about it. And it's my favorite lesson. It went really well during second block, but my fourth block is going to come in about 10 minutes. And they are a great group, and I'm very blessed with lots of great classes this semester, which is why it's so hard to leave them. But what they are going to do when they come in is be a completely different class from the second block class. They may love the introduction to Romeo and Juliet. They may hate it. I've got everything planned out today. I've got the way that I've always done it, the way that I love doing it. We have our grammar warm up, and then I introduce a little bit about Shakespeare and why he's so cool and why he's why everything is worth studying about him, even though he was 400 years ago. And I show them a little video clip that's really kind of like engaging, and it pulls in the modern connections, and I really love this video clip. It's about 18 minutes. I take notes on it. And then I go over the parts, and I'm going to actually show you a little, let's see. I'm going to show you, let me see if I can split this around. I'm going to show you my little bulletin board, my Romeo and Juliet bulletin board. You got the House of Montague. Of course you have Sofia Vergara as Lady Montague. Why would you not? And Jimmy Smits as Mercutio. Hello, you're not living until you have him as Mercutio, right? And Sophia Loren is, of course, Lady Capulet. So I've got my chart here, and I show them that, and we go over the cast of characters, and then they have their auditions, and they audition for different parts. So that is how we do. So I'm really excited about it, and I always put like a ton of passion into it, a ton of energy, and if they don't give that back, then I'm like, oh gosh, this is such a failure. If they aren't giving all of that back, then I'm like, oh no, this is such a disappointment. And that's okay. This is how I want to deal with that, should that happen this afternoon. Because second block went great. I loved second block. I cannot expect the class that a lesson went really well in to automatically go well for another class. And I'm not talking about things going really wrong and really bad. I'm just talking about that general low level of you're trying to help them understand, you're trying to help them learn, and they're just not getting it, they're not into it, they don't want to push themselves, they don't want to give you the energy back that you're giving them or whatever, and it's a two-way street as a teacher, you know? So this is the strategy that I recommend for dealing with that. When you are expecting something great because you're prepared and you know it's gone well in one class, so you're expecting this class to be great. Deal with each student on an individual basis and find something about each individual student that you can come alongside and recognize, that you can tend to. It's not about being the sage on stage. It's not about having all the answers and they're just soaking up the wisdom that you're trying to offer. That's not what it's about. It's about them learning and growing academically, socially, emotionally, on every level. And if you are thinking that your instruction is going to be one size fits all, and it's very easy to fall into that trap. Once you start teaching and you kind of know what you know what you're doing and you get really excited about it, and you've got the ideas in your head and you know how it's going to go and you've got that vision, it can be easy to get really dejected when what you expected falls flat. And when that happens, you feel like a failure and you feel like you've done something wrong, and you haven't. It's just that you're dealing with a different dynamic. And the group approach, the one size fits all, I'm going to plan this lesson and everybody in this class is going to like it. It's going to appeal to all different learning styles. It's going to challenge them. It's going to be fun, blah, blah, blah. You can plan for that and you can do your very best, and I really hope it all works out. I hope that they love it. They might not. It might not appeal. It might hit one kid the wrong way. It just might not click. They might not get it. So the way that you can deal with that is, like I said, come at each student as an individual. Find something in them today. Recognize them as an individual. Maybe you can read their essay before class starts and just have it fresh in your mind, like what they wrote in their essay that was really good, and compliment them in person or maybe in front of the whole class. Or just be sure to greet them at the door and say, how was your weekend, how was your break, whatever. Just really try to help each kid individually and recognize where they're struggling, where they're succeeding, and show them that you see them as a person, not just as one collective class. And it's all about, I'm talking about like from personal experience. I have felt this way, that like it's one big class and it's just me as the teacher. It's me and them. No, it's me as their teacher, and it's this student here, and it's this student here, and it's this student here, and it's this student here. And I have a relationship. It's not their job to build that. It's mine. I have definitely fallen into the trap of being disappointed in a class when they didn't react the way I want. Yeah, and thanks for being honest about that. Especially when you have such high hopes. So instead of coming at it from a point, for me, what works is to also just kind of keep the expectation low. Like they might really get this. They might really be on board with this. It might be something that they understand. For some of them, they might be a little bit lost, and just kind of expect that and just say, I'm going to do my part, and then I'm going to let it go. So, dealing with the unexpected in class, in life, it's not your fault when things happen. It's not your fault. If you're doing the best that you can, if you know that you have kept your side of the street clean, as we like to say, that's okay. And then you can learn from it and move on. You don't have to beat yourself up about it. You don't have to look at, gosh, what did I do wrong here? You don't have to do that. It's just a thing. It's just it's kind of like how some people like Italian food. Some people love Thai food. Some people love Mexican food. Some people like all of the food, like me. And it's not a reflection on you as a teacher. If you are continually striving to get up and try again, knowing that your best laid plans might go awry and that you can get back up and try again, it's all okay. So that's my live for today. Like I said, I'm going to try to go live from this classroom every day this week, since it's my last week in this classroom.